Chauvel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and asks, when will he be informed of the Inspector General's findings concerning the 3 cases where the Government Communications Security Bureau has been unable to assure him that its actions have been lawful? And how will he communicate those findings to the House?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I expect to be informed of the Inspector General's findings when his review of the cases is complete. Any decisions regarding the communications of those findings will be made then. However, I would note that my own public statement on October 3rd said that the GCSB would issue a further public statement when legal work has been concluded.
Chauvel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will he ensure that the New Zealanders who were the subject of the surveillance be informed if it is found that the surveillance of them was unlawful? If not, why not?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I can't guarantee that. I would have to take advice on whether that is a sensible course of action to follow.
Chauvel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When he told the Leader of the Opposition last Tuesday that he had seen the paperwork on which GCSB relied to support its belief that it had, quote, acted legally, end quote, in conducting surveillance on Mr. .com and his associates, and that this material had formed the basis of the Bureau's request to the Acting Prime Minister for a ministerial certificate, what was the nature of that paperwork?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, possibly the way I should have phrased it is some of the paperwork. I'm sure there's more paperwork that GCSB has, but amongst other things, I've seen email correspondence from the legal team at GCSB that support the view that Mr. .com was not protected.
Chauvel.
Is he now satisfied that the correspondence to which he's just referred was incorrect in substance?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, I think, Mr. Speaker, by nature we admitted that was the case because that was the view formed by the GCSB legal team after they did the review in the middle of February of this year. But of course, later on, after the affidavit was signed, was presented to the court by Paul Davison QC on behalf of Kim.com on the 7th of September 2012, a further review was undertaken, and it was at that point, sometime after that, that GCSB formed the view that they had in fact implied the wrong legal interpretation at that point.
Chauvel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is it normal practice for him not to be informed promptly by GCSB or by his deputy that in his absence the Bureau has sought and his deputy has granted a ministerial certificate to prevent a court from considering the Bureau's activities in a particular court case?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I couldn't possibly ask for information on something that I wasn't aware was taking place. I think I've said in this House a number of weeks ago that in fact the failing, I think, was on GCSB not to inform me that they had asked the Minister to sign a ministerial certificate. I might add, though, had I seen all of the information that the Acting Prime Minister saw, without doubt and without hesitation, I would have signed the same documentation.
Question number 11, Dr. Jan Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.